Stephanie Draper, and I work in undergraduate recruitment and admissions at Dalhousie University. Today, I'm going to provide some admission information for undergraduate programs. This will be helpful information if you're considering applying to Dalhousie University and are wondering about admission requirements and the admissions process. I want to make sure that you have the information that you need, but also that you know how to access this information. So today I'm going to walk you through the various pages on our website to show you how you can access this info. Okay, let's get started. So first, we're going to go to dal.ca. From dal.ca, we're going to click on admissions, and then we're going to click on how to apply. Because we're looking at undergraduate admissions today, we won't be talking about the graduate studies or professional programs like law, medicine, and dentistry. So if you're interested in those programs, please go to the website for more information. Okay, so we'll click on apply now. And here we'll get a list of all of the steps to follow in order to actually apply for Dalhousie. We're going to focus on steps 1 and 2, but if you're interested in learning more about steps 3 and 4, specifically how to actually submit your application, please check out our admissions video where a colleague of mine actually goes through the online application. So the first step in the process is actually choosing your program. Admission requirements will vary based on your academic history and the program or programs to which you're applying. So you want to make sure that you know the bachelor's degree to which you're applying, because that's what actually determines the admission requirements that you need to meet. You can go to the programs page to browse the programs and to find one that you're interested in to check what the degree program is for that actual major. So for example, if you're interested in studying biology, you'd be applying either to the Bachelor of Science or the Bachelor of Arts program. Whereas if you wanted to study accounting, you'd be applying to the Bachelor of Commerce program. If you have a number of different majors that you're interested in, and you're not quite sure what program to apply to, or if they offer a number of couple degree programs for that major, then definitely reach out to an admission advisor to get some more advice. If you decide to apply to Dalhousie, you can actually apply to up to 3 different programs. If you're applying to more than one program, make sure you're meeting the admission requirements for each program. You'll only be assessed for your second and third choices if you're not admitted to your first choice. Once you know what program or programs you're applying to, you can move on to step 2, which is reviewing the requirements. So, as mentioned, admission requirements can vary based on your academic history and the program or programs to which you are applying. So please review all requirements carefully. You can start with the general admission requirements page, which will tell you the requirements based on the program to which you're applying. First, you'll see that one of the requirements is completion of grade 12 or secondary school. We'll talk a little bit about this more later. What I want to draw your attention to right now is the minimum overall averages, as well as the 5 grade 12 academic courses that we're looking at. So for students who are applying direct from high school, we will be looking at a total of 5 grade 12 academic courses. English is required for all programs, but some programs may have additional requirements. Let's take a look at a couple programs to get a better sense of what we're looking for. So, Bachelor of Arts, for example. If you're interested in this program, you will need to have grade 12 academic English and then 4 other grade 12 academic courses. These courses can be anything. They could be arts classes like history or sociology, or they could be science classes like bio and chemistry, or they could be something else entirely. They just have to be a grade 12 academic course or equivalent. If you're interested in applying to the Bachelor of Commerce program, we're going to be looking to see that you have grade 12 academic English, as well as grade 12 academic math, and then 3 other grade 12 academic courses. If you're interested in the Bachelor of Engineering program, this program has kind of larger requirements in terms of the courses that we're looking for. So we're going to be looking to see that you have grade 12 academic English, pre-calculus math 12 or calculus math 12, grade 12 academic chemistry, grade 12 academic physics, and one other grade 12 academic course. If you're applying to the Bachelor of Science Medical Sciences program, we're going to be looking to see that you have grade 12 academic English, pre-calculus math 12 or calculus math 12, and 3 other grade 12 academic courses. Just to note that admissions to this program is competitive and the overall minimum average is 80%. If you're interested in the Bachelor of Science Nursing program, this is another one that has 4 out of the 5 courses accounted for. So we'll be looking for grade 12 academic English, grade 12 academic math, grade 12 academic biology, and grade 12 academic chemistry, plus one other grade 12 academic course. If you have previously attended university or college, you may need to meet the advanced standing entry admission requirements for this program. This is another competitive program, and applicants need to write the Casper test, which is a 90-minute online computer-based test as part of their application. For more information on the different entry levels for this program, so the direct entry and advanced standing entry, please visit the Nursing Requirements and Frequently Asked Questions page for more information on this. And you can find that link right here. If you're interested in the Bachelor of Science program, then you will need to have grade 12 academic English, pre-calculus math 12, or calculus math 12, and 3 other grade 12 academic courses. For our Faculty of Agriculture programs, which are all offered on our Truro campus, there will also be different admission requirements based on the program to which you're applying. So for example, for the Bachelor of Science Bioveterinary Science program, students need to have grade 12 academic English, pre-calculus math 12 or calculus math 12, and 3 other grade 12 academic courses. If you're interested in the Diploma in Veterinary Technology, then you need to have grade 12 academic grade 12 academic English, grade 12 academic math, grade 12 academic biology, and grade 12 academic chemistry, plus one other grade 12 academic course. Minimum overall averages for each of these programs are also listed and can vary. Required subjects have minimum averages too, which also can vary, but you should have at least 70% in them. For non-required subjects, those courses that are making up your total of 5, but aren't the required English, math, or science course, you need to have at least a 60% in those courses. We won't look at courses below 60% for admission consideration. Once you know what the subject requirements are, you might be wondering what's equivalent to these grade 12 courses based on your curriculum or your region. For this information, you'll want to go to the specific course requirements page, which is located on the right-hand side of the page that we're currently on, or also under each diploma or bachelor's program that you're looking at. So once you're on this page, you'll want to select your curriculum or your province to get a better understanding of what courses it is that we're actually looking for based on your academic history. So for example, if you are a student studying in Ontario, then you'll want to look at Canadian high school applicant and select your province. For Ontario, you'll see a list of the different courses that would meet the required English requirement, math requirements for both academic math or the pre-calculus math. Just to note that when you're looking at these lists, we're only looking to see that you have one of these courses. You don't need to have all of them. The only exception to this would be in New Brunswick, where students who are looking to meet the pre-calculus math 12 or calculus math 12 requirement actually have both pre-calculus 120A and 120B. So if you're a Canadian or international applicant and you're following the IB program, then you'll want to look at the International Baccalaureate requirements here. So here we have a list of all of the IB equivalent courses that we'd be looking at. So for English, for academic math, for the pre-calculus math, chemistry, physics, and biology. Just a note that students who are following the IB diploma still need to meet the subject requirements for their chosen program. So all of the requirements that we went over and more, that would be on the general admission requirements page. You need a minimum of a total point score of 26 to be considered for admission, though some programs may require a higher point score. So going back to our specific course requirements page here, if you are a U.S. High school applicant, then make sure you visit the U.S. applicants page, which has some specific information for you. For the grade 12 equivalent courses, we're looking for senior level courses. So things like college prep, honors, or AP, or that you're following a curriculum like the International Baccalaureate or French Bac. If you're applying to a program that has a math requirement, 3 years of high school math will typically meet the grade 12 academic math requirement. But if you're applying to a program that requires the Pre-Calculus Math 12 or Calculus Math 12 math requirement, then typically we'd be looking to see 4 years of math with a pre-calculus or calculus component. If your program requires a science like biology, chemistry, or physics, and your school doesn't offer 4 years of study in that subject area, we will then look for college prep, honors, or AP courses that have been taken in either your junior or senior year. Please note that for the 2021 admission cycle, we are test optional. If you do decide to submit an ACT score, the minimum is 23 with no individual score below 20. For the SAT, the minimum is 1100. And that information is listed here as well as the codes for Dalhousie too. If you're being educated at home, or you're not following a formal curriculum from a school system, then please make sure that you visit the homeschooled applicants page. Generally speaking, we ask that homeschooled applicants provide as much supporting information as possible with their complete application form. Things like a writing sample, a list of textbooks used or books read, any available transcripts that you might have, and standardized tests are examples of the documents that we'd be looking for. If you're applying to a program that requires Pre-Calculus Math 12 or Calculus Math 12, you will need to complete the math diagnostic test and send us a screenshot of your results. If you're an international high school student and your curriculum isn't listed in this section here, then you will need to select the country or region that you're in. You can do this by going to the equivalency of your home country to get more information. So you can either find your country here by the first letter of your country's name, or scrolling through and finding it this way. If English isn't your first language spoken, then you may need to provide proof of English language proficiency. And so back on our specific course requirements page here, you can click on the English language requirements. Here you'll find all of the different tests that we accept here at Dalhousie, as well as the minimum scores that are needed for admission. We do take a number of recognized tests, including IELTS and TOEFL. The minimum requirement for IELTS is a 6.5 overall and no lower than 6.0 in each band. For TOEFL, the minimum score of 237 for computer-based and 90 for the IBT, with no lower than 20 in each band. If you're interested in applying and you're no longer in high school, then you'd be looking under our non-high school applicant section. So here you'd be looking for whether you're applying as part of a matriculation agreement or as an exchange student or as a transfer student or college or university applicant. Remember, even if you're applying and you've already attended university or college, you still need to meet the subject requirements for your chosen program. But oftentimes there's other additional requirements, like a minimum GPA requirement. For example, at Dalhousie, the minimum GPA is a 2.0 and 4.3 scale for many of our programs, but again, it can vary for other programs. If you have graduated from high school, but haven't attended any post-secondary education, so you haven't gone on to college or university, you'll still be considered a high school applicant. So while subject requirements and academic history are really important parts of the admission process and admission requirements, they may not be the only things that we're looking at when considering you for admission. So you want to make sure to check if your program has any additional requirements, such as an audition, a test, or supplemental forms that need to be filled out and submitted. You can find the list of programs that have additional requirements, as well as what they are, by visiting the supplemental forms and documents page. To get to this page, you can click on How to Submit Documents, and then select the supplemental information and documents link from below. And here you'll find a complete list of undergraduate programs which require supplemental forms and documents. All you have to do is click on the program that you're interested in, and then you'll see if there's a form or additional component to the application that needs to be submitted. Just a note that when you're applying for admission, meeting the minimum requirements does not guarantee admission. Some programs are limited enrollment and may have a competitive average, which we don't actually publish. If you don't meet the minimum admission requirements for your chosen program at Dalhousie, you should visit our Upgrading and Pathways Programs page. This is listed here. On this page, you'll find information about upgrading and pathway options at Dalhousie. So, university prep courses that are offered through the College of Continuing Education, extended learning offerings through the Faculty of Agriculture, the transition year program for folks who are African, Nova Scotian, or Indigenous and are looking for a pathway to undergraduate studies at Dalhousie, and the Indigenous Student Access Pathway at the Agricultural Campus, which is a great opportunity for First Nations, Métis, and Inuit students who would not otherwise be eligible for admission and are interested in dedicated support while transitioning to a university environment. We also have some options beyond Dalhousie that you can explore. If you have any questions or you're wondering if you do need to upgrade, please make sure to reach out to an admissions officer so that you can get some advice and information on next steps. All right, well, going back to our handy checklist, we've already gone through steps 1 and steps 2. And as mentioned, I'm not going to go through steps 3 and 4 since my colleague has already created a video which takes you through the application process. That being said, I do want to share some information and some tips with you that will help make the process a little bit easier. Right now, we're in our early admission period. So this began on October 15th and will run until January 31st, 2021. During this period, grade 12 high school students who are studying a Canadian or American curriculum can apply using their grade 11 courses and their final marks in those courses, as well as a list of courses that they're taking in grade 12. Students who are following a Canadian curriculum can actually self-report on the application, and there's spots right on the application for you to do this. But if you are following the US curriculum, please submit a copy of your transcript so that we can ensure that you're taking the required courses. Because remember, we're going to be looking to see that you've done 4 years in some areas. Nova Scotia students who include a provincial student ID number and Ontario students who include an OUAC number on the application form are not required to self-report their grade 11 final marks and list their grade 12 courses. Instead, make sure that you provide these numbers in the designated areas on your application, and we will actually receive a download of your grades. If you're an international applicant and you're still finishing your secondary education, then we will need mid-year marks before we can assess you for admission. In some cases, you may even need to have completed your secondary education or already begun studies at the post-secondary level before we can assess you for admission. If you have already graduated from secondary school, then you can apply during the early admission period using your final and official high school transcript. Please note that if your transcript is not in English, then you will need to have this translated and notarized as it's sent to Dalhousie. If you are a college or university applicant, you can also apply during the early admission period. But if you're still enrolled in courses, we will be waiting until your final your final semester marks from the fall are available before we can assess you for admission. During this time, we're in the early admission period, as already noted. After the early admission period, we move into the regular admission period, which begins February 1st. Please make sure that you know the application deadline for your chosen program. Again, you can find this information online by going to the applications deadline page. These deadlines will vary by program, but if you are a direct from high school applicant, then make sure you have submitted your admissions application by March 1st, as that's the scholarship application deadline, and all scholarship applicants need to have also applied for admission. This actually moves nicely into steps 5 and 6, which are submit your required documents and apply for entrance awards. I'm not going to go into the entrance awards application process because you can visit our Money Matters page to learn more about this, but I do want to tell you how to submit your documents for admission consideration. This is important for 2 reasons. First, because you need to submit official copies of your transcripts for scholarship consideration. And second, because as I mentioned at the beginning, one of the general admission requirements for programs at Dalhousie is that you've completed grade 12 or the equivalent. So you will need to submit your official and final transcripts when available. If your program has additional requirements, please make sure that you're submitting those by the deadline required and are following any instructions on supplemental forms. So again, our deadlines are here for programs specifically, and you can also visit the supplemental forms and documents page for more information on programs that do require additional documentation. If you're applying during the early admission period, which like I said before, runs October 15th to January 31st, then you will need to submit an official copy of your first semester final marks once they are available. If you are a Nova Scotia applicant or an Ontario applicant, and you gave us your Nova Scotia student ID number or your OUAC number, we will receive a download of these grades automatically. If not, we are still able to receive transcripts through both the mail and through email. That being said, since the registrar's office is still working remotely, we are only collecting the mail once a week. So if you can, I'd encourage you to arrange to have your transcripts sent by email. For email transcripts to be considered official, they need to be sent to us directly from your high school or post-secondary institution using an institution email address, an official institution email address. You can go to this page, How to Submit Documents, for more information, including the email addresses at Dalhousie where you can have your documents sent. If your school doesn't operate on a semester system, then we'll be looking for first or second trimester grades, depending on when the grades are available. Remember, if you want to be assessed for entrance awards, we'll need final grades or mid-year grades by March 1st deadline. If you're a college or university applicant, we'll also want to see official marks from completed semesters when they are available. Once you finish your studies, be sure to make arrangements to have official and final transcripts sent to the registrar's office. If you're attending another university or college and are wondering about transfer credits, please note that the transfer credit assessment process begins after a student has applied, been accepted, and paid their deposit. Students who have completed IB or AP courses and are looking for transfer credits also need to have been accepted for admission and paid their admission deposit before being assessed for these credits. For those in the IB program, some higher level courses may be eligible for university credit if you got a score of 5 or higher. Similarly, with AP, some courses with a national exam mark of 4 or 5 may be eligible for university credit. For more information, please visit dal.ca/transfer credits. All right, folks, that's it. A quick overview of what you need to know when applying to undergraduate programs at Dalhousie. Remember that once you've applied, you can check the state of your application online using Dal Online. This will always have the most up-to-date information about your application, and as soon as we have more information, it'll show up in Dal Online. We will also send out our admissions information through through email, so make sure that you're checking your email regularly. Thanks so much for listening today. I hope this has given you a better sense of the admissions process and that you now know where to go on our website to get more information. Just a reminder that myself and my colleagues are also here for you if you have any questions or concerns. You can find your regional advisor at dal.ca/connect. We're offering priority consideration for anyone who has applied already and let us know that they would be attending the open house today. If you haven't applied yet, you can still take advantage of priority admission decisions. Just make sure that you note that you attended the open house on your application and that you apply by November 9th. A reminder to check out the application video if you're wondering what applying to Dalhousie is really like. There are also other videos and presentations on things like financing your education, student life, admissions, and much, much more. Admissions officers are available to you now if you have any questions. Enjoy the rest of Dalhousie's virtual open house. Thanks so much and take care.